Welcome to the Eastwood Tulsa Podcast. My name is Jeremy Rhodes, your host, and I'm really glad that you're with me today as we have a special episode today of the podcast. Today I have a very special guest with me. This is Amy Wilbins. Hey, Amy.
Hi.
So glad you're with us today.
Thanks.
Amy, you've been a member here at Eastwood for a couple of years now, and it's been a joy getting to know you and just all the cool things that God has done and is doing in your life. And missions is one of those things. Missions is a big part of Eastwood, kind of a part of our DNA. But for you, missions has been something that has really evolved, and God has used this to really change your life. So as we begin today, I'd really like to hear your story as to what God has done in your life concerning missions. And then we've got some special things later we want to talk about after that.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Tulsa. I've lived here all my life, raised in a Christian home, been in churches all my life, primarily Bible churches, heard the gospel and the word of God preached every day or every Sunday. My parents, taught us the gospel,
Right.
and thought that I knew everything, apparently. And I remember praying the sinner's prayer when I was about 5 years old.
Okay,
I was in Awana up until high school, so very church-oriented. But
You sound like me. I grew up in the church too.
Yeah, but I still don't think that really, I had no idea what that really meant. I remember rededicating my life to the Lord when I was about 12 years old. But still, I don't think had any idea what that meant. Just went through high school, thinking I was a believer, thinking I was following the Lord, but kind of just felt stuck, like I didn't really have anything significant I was supposed to be doing,
Right.
or had a specific path, not really anything like that. So I just kind of felt like I was waiting around for the Lord to call me to something,
Right,
or use me for something. And so the summer of my sophomore year of college, I went to a 7-week summer project in California, and took this class called Perspectives, and
Wow.
it really
Okay.
just changed my life, and I really believe that that's when my walk with the Lord began for the first time.
Yeah,
So
it really just took off from that point. Yeah, I can relate to that because, growing up in church, I kind of had the similar story. Prayed the sinner's prayer, and I really did. I know for me, I did get born again at 8, but struggled too throughout my teenage years. Lord, what do you want me to do? And there were some significant points in time that God really opened that up for me. But not until after high school for me too was like, okay, now my life is really committed to Christ. So I really do understand that part. So you talked about Perspectives, that class. So what is that? How did it change your life?
yeah, it just helped me to understand that the Bible is not just 66 separate books with no that didn't connect. It's all one story, the story of God's glory, how He created the world and His plan for the end of the world and for all of eternity, and just seeing how it's all woven together and part of one story was pretty significant for me. Like I said, I'd been taught the Bible my whole life, but it had never been, I don't think the fault of anyone, but I had just never seen it as one story before.
That's in and of itself an amazing revelation when that finally opens up to you. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just understanding the Bible in that way, and then understanding that God has called all of us to missions. The avenue to which He sends us is completely different. Some
Right.
people may be called to going, some people may be called to staying home and praying or financially supporting those that are going, mobilizing others to take a Perspectives class, or join a Bible study, or just discipling, things like that. We all have a role to play in.
It's kind of in that go.
Yeah. And none of us are exempt. We all have a part to play, and it really just helped me understand that I do have a part to play, and I'm supposed to be obedient to that calling. And
Right. So in ministry for many years for me, I've talked with a lot of people who really wrestle with this. I have a passion for ministry, or something that I feel like God has called me to, but to come to an understanding of, is that in a full-time capacity, or is it in a kind of a term that we use, kind of a lay ministry. It's like, I do this even though I work in a secular job or a secular environment, and yet I'm still ministering. And so for missions for you, because that's a big question when it comes to missions.
Right.
Am I called to the mission field, or how do I do missions? So how was that for you?
Yeah, and that's still evolving, I think, for me.
Okay.
But especially in college, when I was just now kind of relearning and getting a whole new perspective over my walk with the Lord and what He's doing, I originally thought, well, I'm just a college student. What can I do?
Right.
But I had friends that were in college that were going out on mission trips, or being a part of a local campus ministry, just helping mobilize people on campus to either spread the word of God or support your friends that are going out to do the work, just doing what you can where you're at. And I was pursuing a degree in social work. I'm a social worker today, but as I was pursuing my education, I just had the understanding that I don't know how the Lord's going to use this. It could be staying here. It could be going overseas. I just don't know. So being obedient, I think, to just having discernment as to what the next step is, and just take it one thing at a time.
Instead of trying to build out the whole future.
Right. Yeah. And for me, like, I don't know what will be next. Like, I don't know what the Lord will have for me in the future.
Well, I can tell you, social work, that is a major mission field just in and of itself. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you talked about the class that you took called Perspectives. And so tell me a little bit about the class, as far as what was the class about, and how did that draw you into this greater, if you will, perspective?
Right. It's hard to not use that word
I
when
know,
you're talking
isn't it?
about perspectives. But so it's a 15-week course.
Okay.
It's more of a world discipleship course that goes through the biblical, historical, cultural, and strategic aspects of missions. The first 5 weeks are all about the Bible, all about, putting together the Genesis to Revelation story and things like that. And then
awesome.
The next few weeks we'll talk about significant movements that have spread the gospel, and just people that have been involved in that ministry, and then the cultural and strategic aspects as well. So there's different instructors that come in from all over the country. So there's a different instructor each week that you get to hear from, which they all have so much knowledge and experience, and some of the stories they tell about how the Lord's used them, you just can't believe that that's true, but it is. And I think having all that knowledge, but also broadening your view of what missions is and what it truly means. I think that was the biggest impact for me.
That's awesome.
In taking the class.
I know for me, when I was a youth, I think I was about probably around the 15 years old, at our youth camp, a missionary from Kenya had come to speak, and unfortunately, just before he came, and it was one of the reasons why he was back stateside, is that his wife had been martyred.
Oh, wow.
And so, and it had only been maybe less than 2 months or so since that had happened, and he was back in the States. And so the leaders of the camp asked, would you please come and share just what God had been doing there in the mission field? And he related his story and some of the events and literal miracles that had taken place. And that had such a deep impact in my life.
Right.
It really helped me. I knew at that point there was something about missions that God had called me to. I didn't know that later, like you were talking about, one step at a time, that God would have led me to then work with a missions organization for 15 years. And so I had no idea of that.
Right.
But it was that one step at a time. But hearing from some of those key, or anyone that is on the field and have experienced things and seeing the whole world from a different viewpoint really has a deep impact in your worldview, as well as what is God asking you to do. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it really helps to take you outside of yourself and to see what else is out there, and the world does not revolve around you. It's the Lord has graciously called us to be a part of saving us, number one, but then also helping us, or allowing us to be part of His plan. And He doesn't need us. He doesn't need us to spread His gospel and glory, but yet He he wants us to. So
yeah, he chooses to use us anyway, thankfully.
yeah, yeah,
Thankfully on that.
Yeah.
So perspective, after you took the class, then it's something that you kept up with.
Yeah. So I've been part of coordinating teams for the past 5 or 6 years.
Awesome.
So, and then this year I'm coordinating, so we get to bring the class and host it at Eastwood. So
That's
I'm really
awesome.
excited to bring the team here and to meet people here at Eastwood, and also bring other churches to Eastwood to be a part of this class as well. So,
That's awesome. So this particular class is open to anyone?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes, it's offered all over the country, usually every fall and spring, but in Tulsa we just have it here in the spring.
Okay.
So yeah, there's dozens and dozens of classes that are offered all over the country.
And so, you're not pigeonholed by this is a particular denomination
Correct.
or a particular missions group that's doing this.
Right. We have non-denominational Baptist churches, Presbyterian, Methodist. It's bringing everyone together.
That's awesome.
So yeah, just kind of emphasizing that it's not just our church and then that church and then this church.
Yes.
We're all part of one common goal, and so it's really cool to see churches come together.
That's awesome. So the class actually has a cost to it. So what is that?
Yeah, so it's $270 for the whole class. We are bringing in instructors from all over the country, so
That's significant in
yes,
itself. Yeah.
and that's a very unique thing that we get to do. I don't think a lot of other discipleship classes have that kind of opportunity.
No, not at
So
all.
financially, I think it's worth it because of the amazing instructors the students will hear. I think it's also just such an amazing investment in your walk with the Lord. But yes, there is a cost. Until December 15th, there's an early bird discount that's
Okay.
available. It takes $25 off that price.
Anything else?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you go to the website before the 15th, December 15th, and sign up,
Okay.
you can get that discount. We do have a select few partial scholarships for Eastwood members.
That's good.
So, and then
If
question and
someone
answer
is
at the end.
if someone is wanting to kind of like preview the class, they're like, I would like to
Yeah.
do that, but I don't know if I really can or not.
Yeah.
Do they have that opportunity?
Yes, the
Okay.
first 2 nights of the class are free. So
Okay.
if you're still trying to decide, I don't know if I can commit to this, I don't know if I want to commit to this,
Yeah.
what the heck is this class? You can come and preview it for the first 2 nights.
Okay.
So you can
So-
bring friends, you can
Oh, that's
come
really good.
alone.
So that's January 16th,
Yes.
and then the week after that as well. Okay. And those 2 nights are free.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. And if you sign up after the first 2 nights, you do have the option of paying off the class for the first 5 weeks.
Okay.
So if you can't pay all up front, that's not a problem.
Yeah. So when we think about this, because you mentioned to me that the class perspectives itself, I mean, you can receive college credit for this class.
You can. It's to receive college credit, you'll have to clear it with your advisor at your campus, and I can provide syllabuses if you need one to
that.
clear it with that.
Right.
There is an additional cost for that because we pay an instructor to
I'm
be
sure
the
there's a
grader
text,
and
text
text and
all that.
make sure it's accredited and things like
Yeah.
that. So
Which is awesome. But then the class time, it's not just like coming to church. You're coming for an
No.
hour and a half.
No.
It's much different.
Yeah, the first 30 minutes we usually have some kind of breakout activity for help people to get to know each other and also just kind of begin the class. And then there's 2 50-minute sessions with this instructor.
Okay.
We usually have a break in the middle. There's usually pretty good snacks. So, if you're coming
Right.
from work, there will be food,
There will be food.
normally. So,
Yeah.
and then question and answer time at the end.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's not just sitting there for 3 hours. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's going to run from 6 to 9.
Correct.
On those, and it actually starts on Thursday.
Yes.
Here. So our dates that are going to start here at Eastwood are starting January 16th
through May 7th, and there
Okay.
will be a break for spring break.
for spring break. So that week is off.
Correct.
And all the other weeks consecutively on Thursdays.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I am excited about the class. One, because I do have such a heart for missions myself, but like you said, anything like this will help you in your walk with God. And then seeing, if you're really questioning, what is God asking of me? Where do I fit in this
Right.
plan? This is really going to help.
Right. Yeah, I think it teaches you that you can pray, you can financially support people, you can send people out from your church, you can help educate others on things that are happening around the world.
Right.
And you can do that no matter if you're a college student or a retiree.
Right.
You can do something in any stage of life.
And who knows, God may call you specifically to go do something.
Yeah.
In a missions way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. So the important information, just to recap, is that Perspectives is going to begin here at Eastwood
Yes.
January 16th.
Yes, Thursday night.
Thursday nights,
Yeah.
run from 6 to 9 p.m. There is childcare that will be
Yes.
available for that.
Yeah, if you register and need childcare, you just let me know, and
Okay.
so we can plan for how many little ones we'll have.
So where do people go to register?
Go to the website, Perspectives on the World Christian Movement. Google. I can't
Okay.
remember the exact website.
Okay.
But there's a spot where you can search for a class. Go
Right
to
here in the
Oklahoma.
area. Okay.
You can find the class in Tulsa, and then go to the that page and register.
Okay.
So, and if people have problems, they can always ask
They
me.
can add that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to add that here to the end of the
Okay.
program today so
Yeah.
that people can know that exact URL and how to go there and do those
Yeah.
instructions. So
Yeah.
that'll be great.
I'm excited.
So the fee for that, are they able to pay that online right there?
Yes, you can pay it online or you can pay it in class.
Okay.
In order to receive the early bird discount, you do have to pay in full by
Okay.
December 15th. If you miss that early bird discount and just need to pay the full price, you do have the option of paying it out over 5 weeks
Okay.
in class.
In class.
So
Okay.
if
So
they
it's
have,
not. So if
it's
you don't
not
have
just,
it immediately,
right, you can pay it out over the next
Okay.
4 or 5
Which
weeks.
is really good because I know we got the holidays coming
Yes.
up. It'll
Yeah.
be after the holidays,
Right.
which is really normally short,
Yeah.
or it's tight for some folks. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, if somebody was really saying, "Man, I've got this or this," what would you say is, when it comes to Perspectives, a reason why you should stop everything else you're doing and come to this class?
Because it will change your life. It will change, I think, everything that you see about the Bible, about God's plan, about finances, about just having an open heart to supporting people and praying, and it changed everything for me. So and I didn't think anything needed to be changed. I thought I knew everything.
What?
Being raised in church, I was like, this will be
Right.
easy, whatever. But no, it changed my life.
Awesome.
So I think it'll change
It's
other
changed
people's
their
as
life
well.
Yeah, I know it will. I know it will. So thank you so
Yeah,
much for
thank you for
sharing your
having me.
story and then about this. And I want to thank you personally just for bringing this to Eastwood because this is exciting.
I'm excited for what God's going to do for our church
Yeah.
specifically. So
Amen.
yeah, I can't wait.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So if this is a class that you're just sitting there saying, yes, I want to take this, then the URL information of how to go online to Perspectives will be here on the podcast there below. And so you'll be able to click or go there, find the location here at Tulsa. It'll be at Eastwood, and select that, and then you can begin to register there. Again, remember about the early bird pricing that goes on until December 15th. If you do need childcare, then please let us know in that, and we'll make sure that childcare is provided for you on those nights. It's 3 hours. It's kind of a long time.
Yeah.
Could be a long time for kids.
It could be.
Could be a really long time for the workers.
Yeah.
But it's definitely,
work.
we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to be able to do that. And for Eastwood members, we do still have a limited number of partial scholarships that are available. So hopefully you will take time to really consider this and to sign up and be a part of this. It's going to be an amazing time. Honestly, I hope that everybody in the entire church would do it. I know they won't.
I hope to see a lot of Eastwood members.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
So thank you so much on this special edition of the Eastwood Tulsa Podcast. As always, if we can pray for you in any way, we would love to do that. You can simply email us at eastwoodtulsa.org, or you can go to our website, which is eastwoodtulsa.org, click prayer, and leave your request there. We would love to pray with you. We do commit to pray for you. We were just praying just yesterday in our staff meeting for some very specific prayer requests that came in just this last week. And so we take prayer seriously, just as we talked about today in Perspectives, just that avenue, what prayer does. It is powerful. And so we definitely agree that God will move in your situation. So we want to pray for you as you let us know how we can do that. And as always, if you've not subscribed to the podcast, you can do that. Simply hit the subscribe button. But if this has been a blessing to you, or any of the previous episodes have, and you feel like, hey, I need to share that with someone, especially this. If you know somebody that needs this class, or you've been talking to somebody, share this episode with them so that they can get the information and then join you at the class in January when it starts. So share the podcast with them. We would appreciate that. And as always, thanks again for joining us. Amy, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it so much. And we'll see you next time when we take the truths of Sunday into every day. God bless you.
Thanks for listening to the Eastwood Tulsa Podcast. Please leave us a comment or a question, like our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Finally, we'd like to invite you to join us online at eastwoodtulsa.org or Facebook Live at 11 a.m. every Sunday morning. Or join us in person at 948 South 91st East Avenue in Tulsa at 10:45 a.m. Once again, thanks for listening to the Eastwood Tulsa Podcast, bringing the truths of Sunday into every day.